We are in the pivotal shift between the end of a dark cycle and the beginning of a new one. During this incredible time of moving parts, shifting dimensions and timelines, we look forward and backwards for deeper clarity. Summarizing and shedding the multiple levels of negative alien influence and energetic siphon, we place special focus on the energetic quality of parasites. What does it take to extract ourselves from parasitic values, unplug from vampiric systems, clear out physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual parasites, protecting our health and life force, valuing our spiritual embodiment and ability to self-source, is a major part of how we are preparing to be responsible co-creators in this new cycle. The alignment that occurs between Earth, the Sun, and the Milky Way is magnified into a specific demarcation point in the timelines that separates the worlds, which begins another stage of mass soul transiting on the cusp, moving from the constellation of Ophiuchus and into Sagittarius. Many groups of souls and entities that have been in the lower dimensional planes of the Earth for multiple millennia will be transited out through the galactic window. As this wave of soul groups leave the lower dimensions of the Earth realm, within the celestial structure that mirrors the planetary body from the heavens, the unified solar principle returns through the birth of new stars. The galactic alignment this year brings the Mother's cosmic ether to ignite Aqua Leon, the restoration between the cosmic mother and her son, which intensely animate the solar fire's power of resurrection throughout the 10th stage of the alchemical laws. As a result, there are powerful alchemical forces occurring within the week of the winter solstice between the cosmic mother's Sophianic principle and her solar sun, which opens a gateway that emphasizes recoding and healing for the masculine wound and feminine reversals. The macrocosm event reflects upon the microcosm of our personal lives. Thus, this may bring intense levels of transformation and transmutation of shadow forces, energetic parasites, and related dark entities that are being purged out of the earth body and the human body. As we move into the next stage of the ascension cycle, the new year that begins morphogenesis, we enter the beginning of a new time cycle that is the game changer between those functioning on Earth as non-empaths or empaths. This is redefining the state of being within those soul groups that gain access to equal exchanges of energy resources that are delineated between service to self versus service to others' consciousness levels. In the previous cycle, energy distribution was weighted towards service to self entities for a variety of reasons, mainly because the planetary architecture was filled with alien software that set up closed source systems that supported mass parasitism. Currently, the energy distribution is shifting, which changes levels of access into other dimensional planes and which groups get access into the planetary field architecture. This is similar to saying the planet has a new Trinity wave access code within its universal coordinate location, and those that are without the access code cannot leave and cannot come in from the universal gates without being subjected to the crystal star guardian host protocols. This transformation of access code levels into the multiple levels of dimensional planes that interface with Earth is a form of planetary crisis management and is also the result of the new cycle of morphogenesis. Sourcing parasitic structures. Consequently, we need to return to the past to better understand how parasitism was established during the final setback of the negative alien invasion history. This set the precedent for energetic parasites to govern through closed source systems, thus defining the energetic distribution required for manifestation during the Dark Age on the third-dimensional Earth plane. The shifts that are occurring in the core template of the planetary architecture directly modify how all spectrums of electromagnetic energy are being directed through human, non-human, and technological means into some kind of form and matter representation on the Earth. Service to self-consciousness has worked upon the negative alien agenda's manipulated closed-source systems that tend to produce energetic parasites, while service to others consciousness works on organic creator codes, which are open-source systems that act as energetic equalizers that produce more self-sustaining sources of energy. Closed-source systems of bi-wave, anti-life reversals, and fragmented polarity consciousness within the planetary field are falling into dissension spirals and then being transmuted into smaller units and transited out. Therefore, these systems are losing access to the same energy resources that were being harvested from the artificial networks or closed systems throughout the previous cycle. Simultaneously, the open-source systems of tri-wave consciousness architecture is pulling away from the dead energy spirals in the parasitic systems and gaining momentum through increased access to higher quality, open-source, energetic resources. These open-source energy resources are being transferred into the Earth body by circulating the higher frequency crystal spirals that help to build the blueprint foundation that is required to support planetary hosting for ascension. This same planetary event is also trickling down into the individual nerve cells on the planet, where the distribution of open-source energy resources is quietly shifting to those people who embody higher frequency potentials, those people that have evolved to the point they can circulate energy manifestations within the crystal spirals and multiply them for the Earth, those whom can exist beyond the parasitism of the anti-life reversals. The closed-source system was organized through the intentional mass production of dark chaos and anti-life reversals that are used by black hole entities. More accurately described, these entities are energetic parasites that use advanced technologies to siphon energy resources from entire planetary bodies in order to survive in reality systems that are based on predatorial parasitism. The gradual dismantling of closed-source systems that are parasitic and have produced energetic parasites in our world is occurring in the planetary field blueprint during this phase. This impacts how people on the Earth co-create with the collective consciousness systems of energy in order to manifest the sum total of their accumulated thoughts that reflect the same consciousness level in this reality system. The way their consciousness energy body interconnects to the collective consciousness body on the Earth plane in which to access the larger system of collective energies in the closed source systems has shifted. As a result, many people reliant on these closed systems may be confused at the ongoing breakdown of these parasitic structures around them, and why this impacts the people and things in their life that are not yielding the same kind of results as before. Evolving beyond closed source systems. Some of us have been given new lessons in order to adjust our thought processes into the next dimensional level of the law of structure that governs the movement of energy towards open source energy systems within the collective consciousness fields. Now, to align with the field where we receive the most spiritual energetic support, we must evolve into the next stage of spiritual development, which requires we learn how to evolve beyond closed systems and manifest in the material reality without using, manipulating, or taking other people's energy. We have to stand upon our own inner foundation, building core self, and developing personal merit to support ourselves in the physical world by sourcing the energy we need to manifest from within us, rather than needing to take from other people's energy in the external. The more advanced the stages of manipulation that a person uses for parasitic means in order to take energy away from others for service to self motivations, the more difficult the repercussion will become in the future. Many people are enduring this hard lesson of gaining more self-reliance and choosing self-sourcing in order to end parasitic relationships and stop engaging in harmful exchanges during this time. Even if we are upset at the perceived transgressions of others, we must not have intent to harm anyone, including ourselves. In the final accounting, no one gets away with anything. All that has been hidden in this parasitic cycle will be revealed and seen in the longer term. Rather than continue to behave in the parasitic ways that we have been socially engineered through implanted thoughts by the negative alien agenda, we must learn to free ourselves from energetic parasites and the parasitic control that is commonly used within the microcosm and macrocosm. This is the beginning cycle for phase transition that pushes us strongly forward to change parasitic habits, whether known or unknown to us. Simultaneously, as we take steps to end parasitic exchanges, we must learn how to generate balanced value exchanges in our personal and professional lives that are mutually beneficial, and not one-sided parasitic drains based upon purely selfish motivations or with intent to harm. To become freed of the consciousness prison on earth that is based on the principles of predatorial parasitism, we have to begin to evolve beyond it and learn new ways to sustain ourselves from our own internally generated spiritual energy. One important lesson many people are learning now is that we must remove the concepts we had around money as the first directive to achieve in life, and begin to see that the primary motivation for money lies in our darkest fears of survival. People should not pray for money. They should pray for their fear to be removed and their higher spiritual purpose to be revealed. As with higher spiritual purpose and action, dedicated in service to others, comes everything that you will need to fulfill that higher purpose, which brings unconditional love and meaningful connection into your life. Most people are unaware that satanic forces are actually hiding behind an astral mirage, made up of a colossal field of ravenous energy parasites. Satanic-controlled systems are also closed-source parasitic systems that a few people benefit from, taking the overall energy resources for their personal advantage at an extreme energetic cost to many others, generating severe imbalances that contribute to energy wars, poverty, disease, and world suffering. We're in the end times, the crossroads that define who on the earth is willing to evolve beyond the closed-source systems of consciousness energy enslavement that was administered through off-planet, archontic engineered parasitism. Those who refuse to change their parasitic behaviors will have more dire consequences to their actions, individually and globally, and thus the fight for control over the access to others' energy resources will appear to be greatly magnified on the surface as this transition occurs on the planet. Transdimensional parasitism. Parasitism is a non-mutual symbiotic relationship between species, where one species, the parasite, benefits at the expense of the other, the host. During the dark cycle, Earth became a consciousness prison based on the predatorial parasitism of the life force energy of all living creatures, especially when they die. As a result of the transdimensional parasitism of the planetary body, the human race became infected with energy parasites and implants that are designed to siphon the higher consciousness energy and vital forces from out of the body. This means that as a result of the parasitism of the human body, this generated severe energy depletion or entropy, which made it very difficult for humanity to embody their spiritual layers, such as connecting with their soul, monad, and avatar consciousness bodies. Additionally, most people on Earth do not have access to their other lifetime consciousness memories, and thus are not aware that they have spiritual bodies that are made of electromagnetic frequency and pure, intelligent consciousness energy that exist in other dimensions. If these spiritual bodies are ignored by the person while they are incarnated in the physical reality, it means that predatorial people and parasitic entities can use the consciousness energy of that person without their consent and awareness. When the human body is weakened and the mind is in amnesia, it is easier for the negative alien extra-dimensional parasites to gain control over the mind and body of those they intend to siphon and imprison. We must better understand the concepts of energetic parasitism that are designed to weaken all the layers of the human body and how that weakness is exacerbated through the attachment of many different shadow creatures, spirits, implants, and microorganisms that exist in physical and non-physical dimensions. When we are weakened by energy parasites, we can get sick, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, thus making it easier to be controlled through an assortment of attachments and possessions. Energetic imbalances weaken the body and produce energetic parasites that, when they remain uncleared, the demonstrated effects of parasitism will eventually show themselves in the physical plane and reveal as illness in one or more of the layers within the physical body, mental body, emotional body, and spiritual body. When Earth was invaded by predatorial parasites. From the Guardian perspective, the Luciferian rebellion reached its culmination during the Atlantean cataclysm. which set into motion the darkest of dark eons, the cycle in which the fallen predators in this universe would rise to rule as the false gods on the earth plane. The last 26,000 years is delineated as the darkest descent into the phantom and underworld realms that are upheld by predatorial parasitism, blood sacrifice, and consciousness enslavement, which was enforced by the false alien gods or archons, under which the entire planetary soul was imprisoned in a closed source system. As a consequence of these events, the earth and her inhabitants would experience the furthest separation that is possible from the universal Godhead, as the archon predators built frequency fences and bi-wave machinery around the planet's body that would continually recycle souls and continue to harvest all living things on the earth for energy and food source. As the planetary body became more infected over time with bi-wave architecture, which includes the lunar matrix, alien machinery, alien genetic modification implants, and assorted technological devices used to siphon life force energy, this fed and generated an assortment of energy parasites, which digressed the earth realm to convert into a material reality based upon predatorial parasitism. Parasitism of others' life force is needed by those who are inherently parasitic, such as these black hole entities that are unable to generate life force themselves. The invaded Earth became designated as a playground for these fallen predators in order for these negative alien groups to stay at the top of the pyramidal scheme as the power elite in order to maintain control over the distribution of energy upon the material plane, directing Earth resources to power up systems in other dimensional realities. The archontic engineered parasitism escalated in the last 100 years into the consumptive modeling, psychopathic corporatocracy, and the continual efforts made in social engineering to mind control the public into accepting and normalizing the inverted systems of the death culture that we can see operating on the earth today. Introduction of predators into food chain. In order to maximize the life force energy harvested from the death of living fleshly creatures, energy parasites were introduced into the genetic network of links in the planet Earth's food chain in order to further engineer the predator-prey behavior. This introduced cannibalism and the consumption of flesh into the food chain, which mutated the genetics of all Earth inhabitants to better conform to the predator-prey archetypes and the parasitic habits of the invading reptilian species, also making it easier for them to control or inhabit human bodies. The energy parasites use violent predator-prey methods to stay on top of the food chain. Thus, they started consuming the life force and resources that the planet and all of her life forms needed in order to be healthy, nourished, and balanced. This lack of available life force energy mutated the many species of plants, animals, and humans to succumb to genetic digression and then diseases, as well as influencing increasingly violent behaviors by manipulating archetypal mind control that generates the predator-prey struggles within the multiple species. The predatorial insertion into the top of the food chain was used to genetically mutate human DNA over the dark cycle in order to harvest more energy from the predator-prey archetypes when living creatures and people were killed. When any plant, animal, or human dies within the predator-prey archetypes of the food chain, more intensely heightened energy is released by both parties, who act out the predator and prey. And this intensity of the kill maximizes the energetic chain reaction for harvesting. The predator-prey food chain manipulation has also been used in many human war and Holocaust timelines to maximize pain and suffering that is fed off of by the same parasitic extra-dimensional entities. In areas of the earth where there have been histories of atrocious massacres, torturous death, rape, and killing, there are swarms of extra-dimensional parasites that can be sensed and seen at the exact location, who go there to feed on the negative emotional energy. During the exact moments that bombs go off to kill an assortment of people in a terrorist attack, there are swarms of entities waiting right there to feed. The parasites act in the archetypal predator role, while the living creatures that are being killed act as the archetypal prey. This anti-life reversal will not stop feeding predatorial parasites until humanity chooses to stop war and end the blood sacrifice of humans and all the living creatures on the earth. Additionally, the representation of the cannibalism of Christ that is made through violent religion was intended to defile the original androgyny of the Eucharistlike body created by the progenitor of the human species, and thus became introduced to the negative alien manipulated version of Christianity. Christ is a cosmic sovereign human being directly linked into the Godhead. If we cannibalize Christ, we effectively destroy our own species, destroy the earth that was made from Christ's body, and lose our spiritual sovereignty. Cannibalism and eating live flesh is a very important principle in generating anti-life reversals, and thus it is used commonly in satanic ritual abuse and in satanic baptism. If it is acceptable for us to destroy our own species, then we are unable to differentiate an invading reptilian species that is cannibalizing the human population, while it hides behind the chaos generated from world wars and senseless killing. The reptilian predator consciousness can live among us, and humans that accept predatorial parasitism as human nature cannot tell the difference. Technological extraction of Earth's life force. Several parasitic extra-dimensional species that combine to become the negative alien agenda required energy sources in which to continue to exist in other dimensions, as well as extend their lifespans. They developed alien machinery that is designed for the technological extraction of Earth's life force, and as a result, to protect the energy that is harvested, they have methodically cultivated a consciousness prison on the earth to maintain control over their primary food energy source. Some of these groups have also sent their undesirables to earth as punishment, apparently defined as criminals or laggards. They have banished some of their own species from their hierarchical social structures to exist underground. Additionally, during the wars between Mars and Maldek, many of these entities came to Earth as refugees. And thus this mixture, as well as the alien genetic modification programs, have also contributed to other species referring to Earth humans that live on the surface as hybrids. In the context given, this is generally considered an insult to infer that Earth humans are genetically inferior, that we have been mixed with cast-offs and criminals from other worlds, and therefore should be classified as slaves. However, through the intended introduction of multiple species genetic alterations, made into the human DNA to create hybrids, they were intentionally creating slaves on the earth. These modifications were designed to shape humanity into related animalistic behaviors that would maximize their specific needs and energy requirements, and that could be siphoned out from the interdimensional planes. Extracting energy from the killing of living creatures that experience intense levels of pain, terror, and fear at the moment of death would release hormonal cascades, which released even more energy for harvest, also imprinting the energy released with complex sensations. Thus, through mind control and social engineering programs, they developed genetic modification that would yield the maximum energy supply based upon intense sexual release and emotional release, as well as producing the greatest levels of fear and suffering in living creatures. The more intensely violent the predator-prey behavior involved in the death process, the greater amount of negative energy could be harvested from the planet, and that energy quanta would be available to continually generate the food supply. Clearly, the ascension cycle is a definitive marker for the choice to end this predatorial parasitism that has flourished on the earth during the Dark Age. Miasma is dead energy pollution. Through the technological extraction of life force made through mass organized trans-dimensional parasitism, the continual effects of world parasitism simultaneously excrete massive waste products and toxic residue to circulate back into the earth body. This is known as dead energy and black miasma that further pollutes the planetary realms and therefore pollutes humanity's DNA, further weakening us. How planetary miasma pollutes human consciousness is that it is carried over intergenerationally through the family of origin and into the offspring, continuing to propagate the previous forms of emotional aberration and dysfunction in the ancestral genetic collective human gene pools. With every generation, if the inherited disturbance of miasma is carried over into the future offspring, or the consciousness is stunted and unable to shift out from the inherited patterns of dysfunction, then an assortment of genetic breakdowns occur. With each future generation, the previous load of miasma is increased if it's not dealt with. In order to clear inherited miasma, we have to patiently purify ourselves in order to transmute it, then evict out the energy parasites that feed on the miasma. Worldwide disease is a result of these impurities and imbalances that relate to the genetic digression of a species and is manifested from energy loss, pollutants, and traumatic blockages to which many lowly spirit attachments and energy parasites are attracted. The pollution in the energetic layers of the earth accumulates into severe collective consciousness imbalances that increase planetary body miasma, and then this starts to aggressively manifest those same imbalances into the macrocosm of the physical realm. As a result of the last dark cycle coming to conclusion, we can observe the massive increase of pollution of the earth, the air, fresh water, and oceans, as there has been an aggressive increase of those pollutants, toxins, and diseases from the continued unrestrained predatorial parasitism and the resulting energy loss that is manifested on the earth. This pollution is not directly caused from overpopulation. This is from predatorial parasitism and energy parasites stealing life force energy, while hiding highly advanced healing technologies from the people. The war over energy and consciousness that is waged to intentionally harm human beings by those entities who consider us their property and slaves. In this cycle, we must face the darkness that has controlled the planet for so long in order to see rightly that we may correct our social structures from predatory parasitism by placing value on protecting living creatures and human beings. It is important to understand that predatory parasitism is used as an energy extraction method that generates massive waste products and pollutants in the instruction set of an energy field, and this damages the blueprint of planet Earth. Damaged blueprints generate damaged bodies and material life forms. Everything in matter has a blueprint from which the consciousness units will organize into matter and form into some level of manifestation. The damaged architecture in the planetary field cannot run enough life force current or the proper frequency tone keys because of the accumulated miasma and continued mass violent behaviors, the waste products from predatory parasitism that accumulates and damages the earth body, creating dead wiring and dead spaces. We help clear miasma when we choose to self-source and not be emotional vampires or parasitic to others. Cultivate loving kindness in our heart and commit to act harmlessly as we strive to continually purify our body, mind, emotions, and spirit. We have been brainwashed to believe that the current age is humanity's modern evolutionary achievement, when in truth humanity has been digressed considerably, losing consciousness and having lost control over the planetary resources, which in itself is a superior organic technology. That superior organic technology is what makes up the human body. By learning to listen to the internal landscape of the human body, if we pay attention, we can acquire wisdom that guides our direction forward in the most positive ways. First, in order to recircuit our body's energetic connections within, we have to get the parasitic imbalances out of our physical body, mental body, and emotional body. If you start here, this will greatly help to free the spiritual body from extra-dimensional parasites also. To clear and remove all problematic issues concerning inherited miasma and the interconnected problems of attachments, negative forms, energy parasites, demonics, and possessions, the most important thing to understand is detoxification and purification of your body to clear out parasites and pollutants. Accumulated black energy, parasites, and possessions cannot stay attached in a strong, healthy, and energetically balanced body. If you have attachment or possession issues, the first place to start to free yourself is an integrated wellness strategy to restore purity and balance to the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual layers. Biofilms, targeting our guts with parasites. Energetic parasites are one byproduct of alien implants and other soft kill technology used to maintain the closed source system for the negative alien agenda. And eventually this can manifest and turn into a variety of physical parasites that weaken the human body. If we can perceive the larger picture of negative alien invasion, which led to the infestation of energetic parasites in every layer of the earth body, that we are still coping with today. This will help connect the dots to why every human being has some level of imbalance or dysfunction that is manifested as a result of parasites and parasitic behavior. Physical parasites impact all bodily functions, mental body functions, and commonly can induce negative thought forms. They can induce emotionally hysterical states as well as promote disconnection between the multidimensional layers, separating the inner self and spiritual energies from the physical body. When people are internally disconnected in this way, they do not know who they are, and they more easily accept a false identity that is handed to them by the mind control system. When we act out parasitic behaviors, we attract more parasites into our internal landscape. Many of these pathogenic organisms attract parasites that also attract demonic energies into the weakened human body, and this is a primary reason for this particular negative alien agenda strategy to spread parasites. If the body is heavily implanted and heavily parasitic, anti-parasitic therapies such as cleanses, fasts, meditations, and prayers are highly suggested to help regain energetic balance within the homeostatic functions of the entire body, mind, and spirit. It is also necessary to stop consuming all genetically modified foods, which are designed to radically increase parasitic invasion into the human body through the digestive system. Over the last 15 years, an introduction of next-level electromagnetic technologies have been used specifically to target the public in order to stimulate the production of toxic biofilms in the internal systems, especially the digestive system. Many of the biofilms are not naturally induced within the human biology. They are technologically induced. Why would they want to send frequencies to our gut to generate more biofilm? As we have discussed many times, energetic parasites produce physical parasites. That is why empaths, grid workers, and starseeds usually have to deal with more serious byproducts of digestive and elimination problems, bloated and distended abdomens, and parasitic symptoms that require more support in a variety of ways to help restore balance. When we have energetic or physical parasites, this greatly weakens our immunity. The direct correlation to parasites in the body, usually sourcing in the gut, is designed to weaken the physical body and etheric body so that lower, extremely low frequencies aimed at the solar plexus are more effective in controlling the person. There is an agenda to target the human gut, to eliminate advancement of the second brain and its neural plexus higher functions, which are needed neural centers for developing skill with direct cognition and cellular knowing. Thus, this is the intended destruction of empathic feelings received from the environment, to block the signals that are sourced within the bioneurology in the second brain energy receivers, which are located in the organs that make up the entire digestive system. How is our gut being targeted? By controlling the food and water supply through mass production and corporatization of commercially processed food products, the preservatives, biotech chemicals, and genetic modification added to many foods are engineered for gene editing and to attack the healthy microbes in the gut. This results in the common dysfunction of leaky gut and vulnerability to biofilms, intestinal plaque, and pathogenic microorganism growths, which spreads into the bloodstream and generates toxicity. This also destroys the nerve cells and etheric webbing in the intestines, impairing overall immunity and damaging the second brain and receptivity of our center of personal will. The solar plexus is the main energy center that regulates our conscious mind or personality matrix. When our solar plexus is being accosted energetically and by the foods we eat, it is weakened and it dissipates our center of personal will, which forms our actions for improved self-determination. The control over food is designed to attack our gut and second brain in order to have more effective mind control results through the extremely low frequency targeting and other AI sweeps, including the chemtrailing and vaccinations that are designed to interact with the body organism to achieve breakdown of the solar plexus and interconnected bioneurology functioning, as well as break down the digestive and elimination channels. Currently, this agenda to feed people biotechnology laboratory-produced chemicals labeled as food is much more severe in the United States. The intended overprocessing and chemicalization of fast food is extremely effective for the use of mind control programming, and in some cases, even conditioning satanic ritual abuse into the nervous system and human brain. As an example, diet soda and fake sweeteners such as aspartame are engineered with gene editing capacity that is used to attack the RNA messenger cells. This disrupts the RNA and DNA communication link throughout the body's production of uracil. Why manipulate uracil in RNA? Because uracil controls the transmission of hereditary information that is passed into the DNA. Another example is glyphosate, which is used to break down the cellular wall and tissues in the entire digestive tract in order to breach the security of the body's defense mechanism against infections, toxins, and other waste products. Glyphosate has been gradually introduced into our food supply and food chain over the last 40 years. When there are small holes in the gut, the toxic waste traveling in the body gets into the bloodstream and even other organs, and these toxins can get stuck in the joints, muscles, and this contributes to the development of many clinically labeled diseases. These diseases could be prevented altogether if they were not being intentionally created by the anti-human environment in which we live on the earth. Additionally, biotech companies are intentionally putting human DNA into mass-produced food, such as the addition of human embryo kidney cells that supposedly are additives that are used as flavor enhancers. They describe that these taste receptors have been previously expressed through human embryo kidney cells. Understanding anti-life reversals helps to comprehend the larger purpose for making humans unconsciously eat their own species through the DNA of human children and embryos. This is purposed through the negative alien agenda and satanic-based agenda to corrupt human DNA and to keep the worldwide child blood sacrifice, child sexual abuse, pedophilia, and satanic ritual abuse networks thriving on the earth. It is important to know that this is put into mass-produced fast foods, such as soft drinks and potato chips, without direct labeling. This ingredient is also put into many vaccines, so clearly the agenda is to get this into the bloodstream of the masses. Naturally, mainstream media normalizes this as if it is no big deal to be consuming cloned human kidney cells in our food and drink. How do you think this affects human kidneys? This is another example of genetic modification, emphasizing both cannibalism and child blood sacrifice as components to promote the death culture, consumer, satanic-based materialism. Technology that is targeted to mind control the masses also has specific sweeps to directly attack the solar plexus area, which has many purposes. This weakens organs and glands that need solar plexus nourishment, attacks the second brain wiring in the gut, which replaces empathic feelings with pain, generating biofilms in the body. Biofilms impulse parasitic signaling that can take over the bioneurological functions in the body and operate as small parasite communication centers inside the body cavities. Biofilms attach to mucous membranes, intestinal walls, genitals, urinary system, and even in the mouth and gums. They form pockets of tissue that protect the parasite growth, toxic and metabolic waste products, as well as heavy metals that are also used to attract more parasites into the body. If the average person has extensive biofilm, gut and intestinal problems, mind control, and parasitic invasion, we can see how the ability to extract life force energy is made much easier by compromising the body's integrity. Biofilms can actually be electronically controlled to perform gene editing or genetic modification in the human host. What is biofilm? A biofilm is any group of microorganisms in which cells stick to each other and often also to a surface, generating slimy, stringy tissues in which these microorganisms live and reproduce. Think of a clump or tissue similar to a webbing of tissue holding a pocket of toxic infection within it, which is living inside a cavity or mucous membrane within your body. These adherent cells are frequently embedded within a self-produced matrix of extracellular substance, which may also be referred to as slime, although not everything described as slime is a biofilm. Biofilm is a molecular substance conglomeration, generally composed of extracellular DNA, proteins, and polysaccharides, which are sugar molecules. Biofilms can contain many different types of microorganism, bacteria, archaea, protozoa, fungi, and algae, where each group performs specialized metabolic functions. However, some organisms will form single-species films under certain conditions. When the body is afflicted by recurring infections and wounds that are hard to heal, it is highly possible there are toxic biofilms in the gut and intestines that are re-injecting the weakened areas with the toxic waste of the parasitic life cycle, or there are microorganism infections living in the tissues. All kinds of parasites seek refuge in the body in a well-built toxic biofilm. Essentially, biofilms are microscopic bugs, which are found everywhere inside and outside the body, that create biological homes in their human host using a mixture of sugars and proteins. For example, biofilm in the mouth is dental plaque. The sturdy protection that toxic biofilms provide from actually eliminating pathogenic microorganisms is one reason why some infections are so difficult to resolve. Yeast, parasites, and bacteria find shelter in the toxic biofilm matrix, evading an onslaught of even the strongest of medications. Unhealthy biofilms in the gut prevent the full absorption of nutrients across the intestinal wall, protect disease-causing microorganisms from the immune system, protect disease-causing microorganisms from antibiotics and antifungals. This means both herbal and pharmaceutical grade. Promotes inflammation and hyperimmune diseases in the body, and houses toxins like heavy metals. Unhealthy gut biofilm is a refuge for many pathogenic or disease-causing microorganisms. This means yeast like Candida, as well as the varieties of bacteria that are related to digestive and elimination issues. Unhealthy biofilms accelerate aging and promote diseases such as parasites, systemic candida and fungal overgrowth, heartburn or gastroesophageal reflux, chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, which are often thought to have an infectious root, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, which includes symptoms like heartburn, bloating, gas, abdominal cramping, brain fog, arthritis, acne, and other skin conditions, irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, and Crohn's disease. Unhealthy biofilm allows some infections to persist for years. This means that the body may become more susceptible to other infections or co-infections, as well as other chronic degenerative diseases. It attracts an array of energy parasites and demonic homes that set up attachments in the aura. To clear out unhealthy gut biofilm requires some research and special care to determine the most harmonious method for detoxification and restoring balance to your gut. Consuming only high-quality, nutrient-dense, and organic foods as possible, eliminating sugar, alcohol, drugs, processed and commercial foods is an important part of the purification process. Also, proteolytic enzymes can help to break apart the structure of unhealthy gut biofilm when taken on an empty stomach. There are anti-parasitic and antimicrobial herbs that are effective because they naturally bust through and degrade biofilm. In most cases, the most effective way to eliminate toxic biofilms and the parasites they harbor, as well as entity attachments, can be greatly assisted through applying oral cleansing at the same time using natural therapeutic-based enemas. Prayer and meditation should also be integrated into any detoxification and healing process. All energy workers may notice how much more content that is processed when you eliminate. Realizing that the waste content is not all coming from what you are consuming. Many of us naturally process obsolete or negative energy which is eliminated through the bowel. And this is the reality for many grid workers. This is also why this is a good time to cleanse our liver and bowel, as well as remove biofilms, as this supports the release of ancestral programming in the physical body. As well, it keeps us clearer from the effects of mass technological mind control from impacting our conscious mind and breaking down energy receivers in the gut. It is suggested that some careful research on biofilms and parasite detoxification be completed in order to develop an appropriate wellness program for purifying your body to be resistant to biofilms and energetic and physical parasites. A starseed that has developed the antidote to the mass problem of glyphosate in our food chain that destroys the gut lining and intestinal walls, Dr. Zach Bush, can be found at zachbushmd.com. Additionally, MMS and CDS oral and enema protocols, as developed by Jim Humble and Andreas Kalker, have proven effective for many people in eliminating toxic biofilm and unnatural AI-related organisms like large intestinal rope worms. MMS can also destroy heavy metal compounds in the water and many different poisons. There is a heavy disinformation campaign against these caring and courageous individuals, so carefully discern the reasons behind why there is so much aggression directed to them and others that promote natural therapies from the medical establishment. The estimated third cause of death in the United States is medical negligence. Hundreds of thousands of people die from doctor and medical malpractice every year, a much higher risk than MMS and CDS usage. As with any protocol, you must do your own due diligence and listen carefully to how to administer the best care to help your physical body regain health and balance, to strengthen your overall immunity and ability to deflect parasitic infection at both energetic and physical levels. In most cases, go very slowly and test the resistances in your body. Be smart and aware of how you treat your body, which should be with loving care and respect. When we better understand how parasitism occurs and begin to flush parasites from our physical body, we'll want to evaluate our relationships and pay attention to those around us which are unhealthy, imbalanced, or parasitic. A critical part of becoming healthy and balanced is not to engage with psychic vampires, their manipulations, and dramas. Psychic vampires are parasitic, emotional manipulators. One principle to remember is that controlling and dominating people and the non-physical entities that are parasitic will always use manipulation to get what they want. Usually it is to maintain their attachment to siphon energy or to use someone else's energy to get things they want for themselves. This may be a person who doesn't want to put forth the effort or energy to do things themselves, so they manipulate others to do it for them. Or they feel depleted, so they seek out a person that they can suck energy from, usually by drawing them into some archetypal drama or crisis. In these situations, it is noted how the vampire appears to be suddenly re-energized by your presence, while you feel excessively drained and tired. If we allow ourselves to be continually siphoned by others, we can feel depressed, confused, irritable, and even physically ill. We all need to evaluate relationships and set healthy boundaries in order to generate mutually beneficial exchanges with other people. This inherently manifests as imbalanced exchanges of parasitic and codependent behavior, and many times the party acting as the psychic vampire will become addicted to their target host because they are used to getting the energy they want from that person. When you place boundaries and cut off the siphoning attachment, in most cases, the parasitic person and the energy parasite will have a control-oriented emotional tantrum or fly into narcissistic rage. This principle of exerting energetic control works the same way in physical people and in non-physical entities, as well as all negative spiritual energies that are parasitic in nature. Over the years, in observing dark entities and their tendency to have control-oriented tantrums, this helped me to see how they manipulate people in the physical realm in order to gain access to their energies. It is a fact on the earth that many people are being influenced by negative forces that they do not comprehend, which has reinforced a lifetime of negative habits, low self-esteem, and parasitic behaviors. When people feel unsafe and insecure in themselves, they will easily resort to controlling and manipulating behaviors to suck energy and this is commonly referred to as a psychic vampire or emotional vampire. For this reason, you should be able to clearly identify various types of personalities that are psychic vampires. A psychic vampire is a person who carries energy parasites, will drain others' energies, and may intentionally drain any positive energy or happiness in another. They can commonly show up as narcissistic, controlling, victims, incessant talkers, or drama queens. They generally have a black hole of emptiness within that seeks to be filled by someone else's energy. As a result, they have a big wounded pain body and generally never feel satisfied, need constant reassurance, and take little things as personal offenses. Most of the time, these are not mutually beneficial relationships, but one-sided parasitic drains. They are friendly as long as you do what they want, and they can suck your energy. Manipulation tactics are used to make a generally content person feel put down, or to take their positive feelings and energy away, to erode self-esteem. The vampire may use condescending, critical, or belittling behavior. They may use intimidation and bullying to make another feel unsafe or even guilty so that they are completely dependent on them. Generally, these people put others on edge, where one feels they must walk on eggshells to not upset this person or get their wrath. You may not know what can set them off at any moment. If you notice the energy wither away whenever a certain person walks into the room, you should protect yourself and amplify your 12th dimensional shield. Most of the time, people that are vampiric are not consciously aware that they are sucking energy from others and are often totally unaware that they are disconnected from their soul spirit. People that are soul disconnected feel empty inside and therefore will naturally try to make up for the energy loss by sucking energy from other people in the external. Staying away from psychic vampires and one-sided parasitic relationships, instead, fortifying your energies as an act of self-love is a good practice for beginning effective spiritual hygiene. Please only take what is useful for your spiritual growth and discard all the rest. Thank you for your courage and bravery to be a truth seeker. Wishing you many blessings of love, peace, and spiritual fulfillment during the holidays and as we move through the chaotic nodes leading the planet into the next higher harmonic. We send our blessings of perfect peace to each and every one of you. Beloved God, and the holy ones of our family Christ Sophia, whose love restores the broken-hearted of this world, pour out your love as one heart upon those who feel lonely, abandoned, or unloved. Strengthen their hope to meet the days ahead. Give them the courage and bravery to seek truth. Give them the ability to form true, life-giving, loving friendships, and bless them with the comfort and joy of your eternally peaceful heart. Until next, stay in the luminosity of your avatar, Christos, Sophia heart path. Please be kind to yourself and each other with a loving heart until next month.